here we go. Bolts and hose number, what are we, Bryce? 53?
Very well done.
53.
Episode 53 of Bolts and Hose.
We skipped last week, right?
We did.
Sorry about that, everybody.
We were napping.
Yep.
It was a long week of napping.
What was it? Did we get too busy?
No, you were taking that stupid class thinking you're smart.
Oh,
You're
I took
trying
a
to
class.
get
I took a CNC class, 3-day course at Haas at Champion's Machine in spring. It was a very good class.
Yeah? Did you learn anything?
I did, yeah.
You gonna start running some parts for us?
Yeah. I don't know about that. It was more about programming and modeling on a PC and then outputting that to the machine.
Have you practiced?
I worked with the guys. We've done a couple of things. And,
What'd you do?
We worked on like an internal 12-point milling operation.
Okay.
And that's a very complex, movement.
Did it work okay?
It moved. We just did it in between setups. So we moved the tool around and it looked like it was functional. Yeah, it looked like it worked. We still need a little tweaking.
Yes, I say you don't sound very confident.
But we'll get there. No, I'm very confident that the basic structure was there. But you've got feeds and speeds and the definition of the tooling that you're using and all that sort of thing. There's
a lot of factors.
Lots of factors, yes.
Well, cheers, my man.
Cheers.
Episode 53. What are we drinking today?
Buffalo Trace.
The good old Tracy Trace.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Like I said, it's one of my all-time faves, man.
We're sitting here in the midst of a flood.
Harvey 2.0.
Another Harvey situation. We've had just rain dumping on North Houston and north of Houston for the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And even last night it was a really good rainstorm. So all of that water that was dumped up north is headed this way right now. And it's
down the river.
It's raising the level of Lake Houston as we speak.
So explain that to me.
The lake is rising.
What feeds into Lake Conroe?
All of
Is it the San Jac?
Well,
is Conroe too?
Lots of rivers feed into
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then San Jac runs into
Correct.
Houston.
That's the main outlet. Comes down San Jacinto.
Isn't there some
Lake
dam
Houston
that they have
on
to
Lake
open
Conroe?
up? Yeah, so they opened that up, and then
because that lake is full, and they're experiencing flooding there.
So they gotta.
So they release some of the water, and it all comes down here.
So Kingwood is effed again.
It flooded pretty well yesterday with all of the inundation of rain. All of that has gone down now, but like I said, all of that water is headed our way.
It's coming again.
And it is projected to rise for the next 2 days. I looked at the difference, like what level above pool did Harvey get? And I think it was somewhere around the mid 50s. And I think this is projected to get somewhere around 47 or something like that.
So it was weird, like Harvey, it rained for days on days on days. It seemed like it rained for a week for Harvey.
Yeah.
And this one, it was only like a couple, really 2 days, right?
Well, I think it was much more spread out. It was over Conroe and it was over here. So it rained for days and days and days. And then it got calm like this and then it rose just like it is now. So it's eerily similar actually.
Yeah.
So
a 500-year flood.
And I think it rained so quickly before too. There was
so
much rain that came down at one time that the dam and all of the drainage and they hadn't done the proper dredging on the lake, and there's just so many factors. There were a couple of the pumps on Lake Houston that were down, so it wasn't pumping and exiting the water as quickly as it should have. And allegedly, they've got all that stuff fixed, and they've been dredging the lake for the last several years since Harvey.
Sure.
So we should technically be in a better position now. We should be able to drain a lot faster.
Daggone global warming, man.
I don't know about all that.
Tell you what.
I don't know about all that. I think we've always had floods. And we always will.
I think the biggest part of that, where you have all these flooding issues, I don't think it's global warming. I don't think it's rivers, man-made, whatever. Well, man-made, I think.
Yeah.
So it's all the concrete.
You're right. I think you're right on
no
that.
absorption at all. It just
we
runs.
cut down more trees, and we don't have as much soil exposed. So
it just runs.
The water has to go somewhere.
Yep. And so it goes into a river, and then it goes into a lake, and then
King
floods.
was a perfect example over the last 20 years. And Summerwood, Atascocita, that whole area is concrete, and houses and subdivisions and commercial real estate. It is a different landscape.
For sure, without a doubt. I don't know, I know you threw some articles at us.
I did some current events. Probably the most interesting one was there is a lot of investment in oil and gas.
It is absolutely crazy. It's really everywhere. I know I read an article last week that talked about the Gulf opening up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then you sent one of those articles about, and it was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
In the North Sea.
Yeah, the North Sea. They've just recently authorized 31 leases for the exploration of oil on land that was earmarked for wind turbines. Yes, wind turbines. So I guess the inclination is that that's not necessarily panning
It's not
out
working
as much as they would like. I mean, it's producing some.
It's not working.
Yeah, but some advocates of that, in order to get that passed, they would even say, well, the future platforms, the future oil and gas platforms would be able to use those resources for power.
Right. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So
and the thing that I thought was
they have to placate to that crowd in order to get the legislation passed.
So they're allowing people to explore. There's actually wind turbines in a lot of these sites, and before you couldn't explore those sites for oil because they were dedicated to the wind farms.
Yeah.
Now they're giving them the permission to go underneath and explore for oil. It's kind of funny. I mean, it really is.
You kind of saw that coming though, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
But definitely Europe sees the value of the future investment in oil and gas. And, obviously we're seeing pieces of that in the Gulf Coast here right now as well, in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I think oil's still rocking, right?
Yep, high demand.
It's climbing.
I mean, the anticipation is that there's going to be low demand in the future. That's why there's so much energy surrounding this. I don't know. I guess.
Do you really think that there's? I mean, that's what everyone keeps. You anticipate that because everyone's like, oh, by 2030, there's no, gas-powered cars. Or do you really think that's going to happen? Like, if you had to bet money,
to some extent, but
you really
not,
think it's
to
going to
not
happen?
not to any great extent.
Are you going to get rid of your truck?
No.
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 Is anyone going to get rid of their truck? No.
Probably not.
Nobody is going to stop
There's lots of
driving.
Cybertrucks that are running.
I would
around
drive
there.
a Cybertruck, but no one, 90% of America isn't going to be able to get one because they're not available or afford one because they're 150 grand or whatever they are. So
Yeah, you're right.
It's not realistic.
The internal combustion engine will be
gone.
around for a while.
Well, they want to be gone, but yeah, it's going to be around forever. Forever and ever.
Forever. But
And ever.
It's going to be around longer than you and I are going to be here, brother.
Because, are you ever going to, your Chevelle, are you ever going to want to get rid of a Chevelle?
No.
That's just one of those things. It's badass.
Yeah.
And it's just American muscle, just power.
1966 Chevelle Supersport 396.
You'll never get rid of it.
Although it's got a 454 in it, not a 396. Muncie 4-speed, 411 Positrack rear end. Yeah, I mean, how can you get rid of that? You're not going to trade that in on an electric vehicle.
And if a cop pulls you over, you're like, yeah, here's my money, go away. I mean, you'll pay the ticket,
Maybe,
and you'll
yeah.
move on about your day. So that's just, you're never going to get rid of it.
But it sits in the garage. It looks pretty, but we'll drive it every once in a while. And then the Bronco's coming along too.
The Bronco.
Yeah, putting a Coyote motor in the 76 Bronco.
We should have a podcast on your garage.
There's a
one day.
place in New Braunfels called Badass Broncos.
And it is badass.
And a gentleman named Woody is the leader of that organization. Army veteran. Spent a lot of time in the Middle East.
Thanks for your service.
Yes, sir. He's a wonderful dude. He's doing a great job on that thing. I can't wait to show that off.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, 76 Bronco.
Speaking of that, you said an Army veteran. We had an Army guy come in this week.
Yeah, we had a call. So start at the beginning.
So we had a call, and I think everyone thought it was a prank call, and they needed a bolt. They were deploying some large guns.
And he was a sergeant or major or something like that, right?
I don't remember his rank, but he was up there. And do you remember what the gun was called?
No.
It's one of those big guns where it slides back. It's
Is that the way you hold it?
No, you don't hold it. But it's one of those I think they just press a button now, and then they step back, and then it kicks. He says it kicks 5 feet, and
it's artillery.
Yeah, so you have spades in the ground to hold it in place, and then they press a button, and this thing fires 5 miles down the road.
Okay, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so they had a brass bolt, a shoulder bolt that I think they lost, and it's a $750 bolt that they could not. I mean, and they needed this bolt to have this thing, sturdy enough to ship it to Ukraine, of all places. And he came to our shop, and we got him a bolt.
So yeah, we all thought this was a joke. Well, I drive up the next morning, And I'm looking through the glass as I drive up, and I see this guy in fatigues, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, there's no way. He's in like full camo.
Yeah.
And I said, no way, this guy's real. So I
Yeah.
walk in, Bryce is talking to him. And sure enough.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy. They're sending a bunch of these guns over to Ukraine.
Yeah. So we're helping with the effort over there.
And
right?
I think he said he's going to bring us a certificate of like appreciation from the
I
United
can't wait
States
for it.
Army.
We'll take our picture in front of the nut.
Yeah,
It'll be
it's
awesome.
kind of cool shit. And he's going to invite us to a gala for all of their manufacturers that help support them.
Really?
Yeah, and so we can I think we donate money and everything. It's just one of those events where they're raising money. And,
We should. We
yeah,
should
so
do
we'll
that.
go there. And he said you definitely want to Uber there because you're going to have to Uber home.
Okay.
It's one of those events. That'd be fun.
I like it. Let's do it.
Supporting our branches of military is, it's a cool thing.
And our allies around the world.
Yeah, for sure. All of our allies. That's something else. I mean, I got to touch on.
Go ahead.
All the universities. Is that not a little weird, a little crazy?
Yeah, but aren't universities in general, especially Ivy League universities, probably just a little crazy like that? There's always some stuff like that going on. It's just a
I
matter
think
of whether
this
it
is-
makes the national news or not.
This is more so now than I've ever seen it. I mean, back in my day, you'd always...
This is more about Israeli Palestine, right?
Yeah, sure. Yep. And there was always a small group of people that would just be weird and go with like some weird, current event and protest, right?
Yeah.
Just because I think they wanted to protest. And I think that's what's going on here.
Majority of those causes of people out there, I think, it's because their friends are doing it, or
Yeah,
it's
well,
because
and they have no idea. They just want to be.
they wanna be cool.
Yeah, they want to have that virtuous voice on campus and be this. They're just standing up for
an
something.
activist, yeah.
But they don't know what they're standing up for. I mean, so some of the videos that have made me laugh is, they'll interview them and they're like, well, what are you doing here? Well, we're protesting. We're standing here in honor to support whatever. And then, well, what is that? What does that mean? I don't know. I mean, they have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of funny. And then you look here, so you scroll through LinkedIn sometimes and you look on, and there's like events that are holding like golf events and, fundraisers, like PVF is a great one. Raising money, hardworking people that are going out and yes, having fun, but raising money to, help kids and help homeless and help cancer and help, military. So we're actually going out and supporting people and doing something good. And then you just got these dipshits that are sitting there doing absolutely no good. Like protesting, yes, it serves a purpose, I think. But they're doing no good. It doesn't move the needle one bit.
Well, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, it's just stroking your own personal ego, I think,
It's just mind-blowing to me. Yeah. And you kind of just want to go, it's kind of cool. I saw one, it was, there's a bunch of bozos at Ole Miss, standing there trying to get flags down, and then you had all these frat dudes that were protecting the flag. And so it was kind of cool to see people actually standing up and, protecting the American flag.
But we'll make our brass bolt for the artillery.
That's what we do, man.
Yeah.
We're just going to work hard and support whoever we can support and do what's right. And drink a little whiskey.
Exactly.
You know?
You want to do some parts?
Sure. You want to go big? Go small. What do you want to start with?
Let's go small, and then we'll work our way to big.
We have a cool product that we've made for a long time. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm going to go small one first.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is a small little guy. You want to go over there and show that? That is a K500. I would call that maybe a tapered.
This is not working.
A tapered socket head cap screw. I don't even know if you would call it a shoulder bolt. But I don't know the size. I didn't get the size. I think it might be a number 8? Or do you think it's bigger, a quarter?
That's probably a quarter.
Quarter inch?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a quarter 20.
K500. So very, very special. I mean, look at all the geometries on that head. It comes down tapered. I'm assuming that's fitting in some sort of, countersunk hole. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
K500 probably going to be used in probably a DOD situation.
A lot of times when I think of Monel, it's using salt water a lot.
Saltwater, that's what I'm saying. So like
See
Navy,
some like a chloride type exposure or something.
so maybe like a Navy submarine, maybe some dock that has a special application,
It could be.
maybe.
We probably suck at guessing what these applications are, Bryce.
And we should like do some more homework and
We should
figure out.
ask people, I think, proactively, hey, can you tell us a little bit about the application?
Yeah, that would be a cool idea. But you know, a lot of the people that we're dealing with, they don't know the ultimate.
They just
end
got a
use.
drawing and they
they're just
provide
like,
it
hey.
to us.
But there's a cool little groove.
But
in
it's
there.
fun guessing, right?
It is fun. I mean, this looks like something that would go on like a table end. You know, like if you saw that, I'd be like, oh, that holds my glass down on top of my end table.
Yeah.
You know, just something silly. Like it's got a little groove for an O-ring.
Yeah. And if it was made out of low carbon,
Yeah,
it's
that would make
probably
sense.
what it is used for.
Right.
But
K500.
being Monel, it's going to be something special.
I think it's running what, $40 a pound for this material now.
Yeah, that's about right.
High dollar metal. There's a bunch of these. We shipped these out last week.
It's a great part.
Cool part.
We're going to take that to the trade show with us. Yep.
Speaking of that, we got a trade show coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
3 weeks. We're going to Fastener Fair in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio, which
think
we
it's-
were there not long ago.
Yep. It's at the Huntington Convention Center in downtown Cleveland, right across the street from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
This will be the first time we've been to the show. We speak so highly of Vegas being kind of like the premier Fastener show. This one, I think, probably runs a close second to that.
You know, that was in Nashville last year. We didn't go to that. We made a kind of a decision not to go, and everyone said it was a great show. So,
And we regretted it almost immediately.
yep. And so we're going to give this one a roll and see how it goes. And we've already heard from a lot of people that excited to see us. We're going to meet up, have a drink.
Marty will be there with us.
Yeah, Marty Nolan.
We've got a new employee that'll join us.
Yep, we'll announce that at some point.
Yep.
He might join us on the podcast from Cleveland. That'd be
Oh,
kind of fun.
nice. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Obviously, you guys have talked about
We haven't, but
That's a great idea.
I will talk to him next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. That'll be a cool event. A couple days, 22nd, 23rd, Cleveland, Ohio. If you're running around, come see us over there. We'll be live in the flesh. This is a cool part.
I'm surprised you're talking about this one.
I'm to the point now where let's rock and roll.
Okay.
So these are used by the thousands, tens of thousands, millions.
It might look like a standard
Stud
3/8/16 stud bolt,
by 2 inches long.
2 inches long.
So this one's made out of C276.
Okay.
So they're made out of a variety of material. But this one's made out of C276. So it's got a flat edge. And there's a variety of configurations with these too.
So if you looked at the cross section on this, they call it a D stud.
'Cause it looks like
so
a D.
it looks like a D. So if you can imagine a circle with one edge shaved off of it, that's why they call it a D stud. It has that D shape.
And so we had a customer call in and they wanted, it was a couple thousand pieces of these. So we made them on a quick turn and out of C276, 3/8/16 by 2 inches long. Which is a cool part.
So you got to take bar, you have to thread the bar, and then you have to shave with a mill that edge
flat.
off. So the threads you just made, you're gonna shave
cut
them
off.
off on one side.
And there's some different, like I said, configurations. Sometimes you have slots in them. Sometimes there's different, there's other shaved sides. So it's a very custom part, but it is used quite a bit.
So you can still thread a round nut on this. It just
yep.
has one area of the nut which
Yeah.
doesn't have contact with the threads.
Still fully usable threads.
And then in the application, you've got washers and that sort of thing that have that D-shaped hole that this slides into, so that it locks itself within those washers. So it's a really cool design. It comes in a kit. Is this a bushing, Bryce?
We're actually making a bushing out there.
I'm going to call this a spacer.
That's a spacer.
Yeah.
But there wasn't no shit a bushing that I was going to grab, but I figured we've kind of overplayed the bushing thing.
We should start Patriot bushing.
Patriot bushings.
And just come up with a separate shop just to do bushings.
Just for bushings.
For as much as we do.
Bushings only.
Patriot bushing.
I kind of like that idea.
Patriot
I'll run
bolt
it.
and Patriot bushing.
I'll be the general manager of Patriot bushings.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a spacer. So this is a cool part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very
Spacer,
simple.
Hollow in the center, no threads. It looks like it has a little countersunk hole
got a little
there.
step, yep.
Yeah, a little step on the inside.
So, you know, obviously a spacer is doing what? It's creating space between two spots. It's made out of B16.
Yeah.
This is supposed to ship out today. They're probably going to come over here and grab it from us at any second. But we got a couple of these pieces shipping to a good customer today. So a very, not a complicated part, but you're drilling that, you're machining that step in there. There's a step on both sides. They weren't worried about the finish. This is just keeping two parts separate from each other. I mean, a good old-fashioned spacer made out of B16. So again, you're never finding that. No one's stocking that. A goofy part.
So we started with a round bar on this?
No, we actually started with hex bar.
Okay, really? Just because it's what we had?
Yeah, we started with round bar.
Okay.
Really?
Well, I was actually thinking from the surface finish here, maybe we took threaded bar and turned it down.
No, there was it was a special OD, so we had to take like nominal bar and then turn it down.
Okay.
And they weren't worried about the surface finish.
Okay.
So there was no requirement there. So it's a quick turn on that.
I like it. How many pieces were there?
Yeah, there was only 2 pieces of that size.
Okay.
2 pieces. Like I said, it was supposed to ship out today. I think quick order, got it on Tuesday.
I like it.
So
The big boy.
this is a cool part. I mean, I saw this part. You know, it looks like a normal old socket head cap screw, but it's not. Look at that head.
Look at that.
So 2 holes, 1, 2.
So it's got a special drive
Yeah.
on the end of it. So it's not a hex. It's not a socket. Trying to think of what other drives you could have, but
You know, like
generally what
a
they
star. You have a star pattern, like a 6 lobe.
Yeah.
You have a 12 point. I mean, there's multiple drives. I think
Flathead.
you could have. Yeah, you could.
are. Yeah. But this obviously has a special tool. I am very curious because I saw these out there. I am very curious the tool that's used to tighten these, because I actually saw a picture of the flange that the customer sent that had all these around the flange. So it was a big flange, and I'm sure this is hydraulically driven somehow. And maybe they just don't have the clearance to make the hex, and it's a way to make the bolt circle and the bolts nest a little tighter so they can get, when you have bolts and you have bolts beside each other, you've got this void when you tighten them where, you don't have as much stress in between the bolts as you do actually underneath the bolts. It's slight, but it's there. And the closer you can get these bolts nested to one another, the less variation of bolt load that you've got around the flange. So I suspect that's what this is. They're trying to nest the bolts much tighter and closer together so that the load is consistent all the way around the flange.
But if it's a socket drive, it wouldn't matter, right? Because it's still...
No, it doesn't matter. But the fact that you don't have these corners
Oh,
from a
sure.
hex,
Well-
you're able to nest the next bolt right next to it.
So I think it's a locking mechanism. I think because a lot of people have Allen keys, right? Everyone has an Allen key. I think this has a special key that requires you to tighten it and loosen it.
That's pretty creative. I think you're wrong, but
I might be, but that's my theory.
no,
you
I'm
have
saying
your
it's
theory, I
creative.
have my theory.
I'm right though. That's the thing.
So your theory is right, but I don't think it's right in this application. I think this is for it's a security purpose.
Okay.
So not everybody can come and just
And it's not just a consideration of the load, but actually to get the torque and the socket on top of the bolt. So if your bolt is too close to the next bolt, you're not able to put the tightening tool around it.
You're
But
not
again,
putting anything around it because you're putting a socket.
I
drive
know,
in.
I'm saying that's the reason to have this like this, so that you don't have to have those corners. You can nest the bolts together just because you can't put the socket on the bolt. You have to, you're required to space the next bolt a certain distance in order to get the socket on this one and on
But
this
then
one.
why wouldn't you just put a socket drive in it? Why put 2 holes?
That's a good point.
So my point is that's the reason they do this is to make it so nobody will come steal the shit. Because nobody has like 2 pins and are going to unscrew a bolt with
If
2
somebody
pins.
come up to a flange and they're going to unbolt it because they want to steal
Maybe
something.
there's some
What are they
$100
trying
shit
to
in that
steal?
flange, boy. I mean, you don't know what's behind there. You'll be stealing some drug money.
It's not like a bathroom stall where somebody, the safety mechanisms on that.
Stay tuned. I'm going to find out what this
Yes,
is
we
for.
are. Yeah, we should report back. Let's consider this a mission
Yeah,
to go figure
I
out
got it.
why they're doing this.
I'm going to make notes.
And we're gonna come back and we're gonna have this story. And I'll bet you it has something to do with nesting the bolts.
That would
tighter.
make sense. I mean, I get that. That's why sockets are used. But this isn't a socket. It's got a special drive. So why would you use the special drive? Your point with the round head is valid, and I agree with you. But why would they not have a socket drive in it, an Allen drive in it, as opposed?
There's a potential in a socket that you can strip that out. I'd say with this, you're never going to strip that out.
Never. No, that's a good point. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Never.
That
going
makes
to strip
sense.
That out. You're completely dependent
Separate,
on the
just
sheer
two holes.
strength of
Yeah.
those two pins that are sticking inside there to turn it.
But you have to have a special key to right?
True.
Or a tool.
But it's a simple tool.
It is. You're right. It's not a bad hypothesis.
We're going to find out. Let's put some money on this, Bryce, just to make this interesting.
Okay. How much you want to put?
Let's
a
put-
bottle of Buffalo Trace.
So, well, hold on. Let's establish what the criteria is.
I think
you
it's
think it's for
locking
security
yeah,
or
security purposes.
Yeah. Whereas I'm saying it's something to do with the nesting of the bolts.
No, I agree with that. I mean, that's why they use sockets instead of
Okay.
hex. So I'm saying that your point is absolutely valid. But why wouldn't they put the Allen hex inside, right?
All right.
So my theory is it's for security purposes.
Okay. So if it's not for security purposes, then I'm going to be correct.
Well, that's like betting on the field against Tiger. I mean, I'll still bet you. I'll bet you a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Bet.
All right.
I'm winning this.
All right. All 34 of our viewers
I'm not
have
super
witnessed
confident
this.
about this.
You shouldn't be.
But I do think that's the case. And
We're going to find out.
I'm going to convince
one
our
way or the
customer
other.
to
We're gonna
write me
find
a
out.
letter
Yeah.
to say that is, that's the application.
I'm going to talk to him as well. So we're going to call him together.
All right.
Okay, we're wrapping it up. How long have we been on here, Bryce? What are we?
25 minutes, that's my
25.
guess. Is that it?
21 minutes.
21
I think.
minutes.
Yeah, this is good. This is where we should keep.
We
the
should
podcast.
keep it at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So episode 53, we're going to keep it mid-20s.
Yeah. Although the last one with Elon and the subject and all
was
that
an
was
hour.
good. Yeah.
So
You know,
get this.
we heard, yes, we
Get-
heard from one of Elon's companies the day after.
Next day, we published it on Friday. Saturday, got an email asking for some massive bolts.
For one of Elon's companies.
Crazy. And I actually finally talked to the guy, and I asked him, I was like, dude, are you watching our podcast? He's like, what podcast? So he didn't hear about us from the podcast. But it's a very coincidental
Yeah.
that we talk about Elon's book, and the next day we get an inquiry from one of his companies.
You know,
It's
Small
kind of
world.
wild. And so I told him to watch the podcast, and I told him to have Elon watch our book review.
Share
And-
it with Elon.
Yeah, and so maybe he can come
I
help
think it was
us.
flattering. You know.
Yeah, I mean-
I don't think we said anything negative.
Not at all.
Yeah, we said he's a little crazy.
He's a
but-
great mind, man.
Yeah.
Nothing
Fascinating.
bad,
I'd love to have a beer with him.
no doubt.
Yeah,
In a puff,
maybe one day.
puff pass.
Yeah.
So okay, this next week is busy. The week after that, everybody, Monday PVF golf. I'm sure some people are going to be
Yeah.
going to
In
that.
Kingwood, right?
In Kingwood.
Yeah.
Then we got another
Hopefully it's
customer
not
event.
flooded and destroyed.
Nah, it'll be fine. It'll
I
be
think
plenty of time.
Deerwood Club is going to be flooded this weekend.
Probably.
That's what they're predicting.
Sure. I think you're not playing much golf up here this weekend. It's very saturated.
And then what do we got?
A customer golf outing
Yeah.
the following Friday,
And then we got Cleveland after that.
and we got Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so there's like networking events up there, and we got some customers that we're going to go see. We got some vendors that we're going to see. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy next few weeks. It's
Busy
going to
couple
be,
weeks.
yeah, it's going to start getting crazy.
And the shop is busy. I mean, this is probably the busiest we've been in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'd say April ended up one of our top 3 months as far as intake
Top
goes.
3 months in intake, yes. So that just means that, May is going to be one of our best intake months, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
So get ready. Bring on more orders. So, we're sitting in the new building. I think the wiring, the networking's almost done, or is it done?
Yeah, the networking will be done next week. We just had a big conversation about layout of the equipment. We've
Yep.
got a new piece of equipment coming Monday. We're going to start laying this out, starting to get it hooked up. We've already got a job for the equipment that's going to be here Monday.
And then, we'll bring in the crew over here and let the games begin.
And then we've got those 2 new large pieces of CNC that'll be here in a few weeks, probably 4 weeks, I'm guessing.
We got a Yeti and a Blackstone, so that's, 2 very important
That's all you
pieces
need.
of equipment
That's all you
in
need.
the office.
Yeah.
Put a nice big TV on the wall. We can monitor your orders and make sure they're out on time.
We're up to 25 minutes, Bryce. Let's wrap this up.
You're here. Thanks for watching.
Stay dry this weekend.
Always do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like, share, and follow.
Bolts and Hose.
Yep.
Thanks for checking us out.
All right.
Adios.
Have a good weekend.